Welcome to the How to Write a Book podcast, the show that helps you plan, write, and publish your book, even if you're a beginner or just feel like one. Now, for your host, she's written over a dozen books and helps others bring their books to life. Here she is, Maciel.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to the How to Write a Book podcast. What's up? I'm your host, Maciel Valenzuela Castañeda. I'm a book coach, author, writer, and we're going to be talking about 2023 planning today. Now, we're going to try to make this kind of short and sweet. The reason for that is because I'm working on my schedule for the year. I want to dive in, and if you're like me, you're a writer, you want to move forward. Now, before we dive into 2023 plans, I was actually recording this episode before this, and I stopped it right in the middle because I was like, this is not going in the direction that I wanted to go. I wanted to continue to put in positivity, but I was reflecting too much on my role in the past couple of months before I have my current job. And I was like, you know what, this is just going negative, and I don't want that because it's so easy to do. Harder to be positive, but so much more worth it, so much more value. So I'll just sum up, because the reason that I wanted to get to this message was because I wanted to talk about manifestation. So let me just put this kind of bluntly. And of course, if you ever want to touch base with me, like in a 30-minute call and ask questions, I'm super happy to do that. I'm super happy to touch base with anybody. I do that, quite often. You just chat for a few minutes and you ask me a lot of questions. So, going back to manifestation, I think that we can manifest, so much. And I do want to say you can manifest anything. It's possible. And even if you are in one situation, and even if your dream is something else, like 180 degrees, even if you don't get quite that, exact dream, it can be a variation of that dream. It can be kind of like an improvement on that dream or a sidestep, but still you have got yourself into a much better place. So the example that I was talking about in the previous episode that I cut, that I'll now do really quickly, is that right now I'm in a role in entertainment, art, animation, and gaming, and it's awesome. I love it, and I'm still pinching myself. I'm still like, this is amazing. I cannot believe that I'm here, but I feel like it was manifested. I honestly, because as you guys might know, I was in live production before this, and I had a job that did not go well. I told myself, I'm not going to be here anymore. And typically I would pick up the next job just to make sure, just to make sure all the finances are good, just to make sure things are, I don't want to just slack off. But I said, you know what? Ask the universe. I said, that was my last job. I don't know what I'm going to get next, but I'm done. I am done. I spent about 2 weeks without, having that next, production gig. And I always like to be very active, but I said with all my heart, I'm going to go for the next job. Then I ended up at a convention. I met some awesome people. They liked me too. And now I'm here. And I'm like, holy cow, that's amazing. It's so what's the word for it? Serendipitous? No, it's manifested. I feel like it was. So now that I feel like, wow, that has happened. What can we do with our books? What can we do with our writing? What can we push forward? So a couple of things that I want to push down the pipeline here is, and this is probably not 2023, but okay, a lot of different branches for Black Heart Story Studios, right? Writing for the people, ghost writing. That's always been like a thing, but I want to really expand that. Getting, people to submit their manuscripts so that I can help them publish. So actually acting like a publishing house, because I know how to publish those books, right? Getting physical copies for people, audiobooks, helping to develop series. Also, there's somebody who, oh gosh, I can't remember what they're doing, but they create skeletons of books and they put them out there for sale. And it's not the whole book, but it's kind of like a pitch. And so if there's an author who, for example, has always wanted to write a romance werewolf fantasy, right? And say you have here's a series of a plot I would we can pitch towards you, and then you would work together with that person. That's also something that I think would be really interesting to explore. So it's kind of you have pre-packages, but you still need to work with the writer once they decide that's the package they're going to go with, so you can help launch that book, or those series of books. And I think that's really interesting. I think also doing more proofreading, editing. I love doing proofreading and editing. It's just that it takes a lot of time. It's a lot of work, right? And I want to, expand that further. Courses. I've been wanting to do courses forever. I used to tutor and teach all the time. Not teach in a school setting, but individual people, mentoring. And that was a lot of fun, but I want to record that and kind of do it over and over. So there's so much on the pipeline, but this year I decided that the good old universe was telling me that I have to sit down and focus back on my writing. I do a lot of pseudonym names, pen name work. And I feel like, okay, I need to shift and pivot and do more of on my name. And I think that's one of the reasons why I didn't really do my name in the beginning, because when I started publishing, people with my name weren't people didn't buy those books. I'll just be straight up, right? If people, and this was a trend back then, right? And I'm saying 10 years ago. If a reader saw someone's name and it looked kind of foreign compared to US markets, the sales were not likely for that book, right? Unfortunate, but true. And now we're getting so much better. Now, there's books on the shelves, Barnes Noble, USA Today bestsellers, beautiful, gorgeous names that show diversity. And now that's starting to happen, right? So I think that also created a little bit of a fear in me. Well, if it's my name, I can't really do that, But now it's you know what? We're living in a new age. We got to do this. We have to expand. We have to show our voices. So what my goal is, I decided, is to publish 500,000 words in fiction this year. That's 500,000 words. Now, there's some caveats. I'm saying some rules, and I probably should set down the rules. Okay, this is the rule, so that I can make sure I'm staying on track. That means about 40,000 words per month. So that's about a novella's length, or so. Now, the goal is one series and one standalone book. Everything else can be short stories. So I'm giving myself some grace, because that would probably be the most I've ever written in a year. And ideally, it would be nice if I ended up with two sets of series, right? So that'd be 6 books, 3 for trilogy, and then one standalone. I don't know why I still want that one standalone. Everything else can be short stories or other work, right? And so it's important for me to kind of set these deadlines so that I can know if I succeeded, right? So I'm going to be doing for the rest of this show with, I do have some interviews that I still need to edit and load, but it's pretty much going to be my journey throughout this year. So I'll be touching base and saying what I'm doing. My next episode will be me planning out, how am I preparing? What do I need? What am I doing? I think with my recent client that I've been working with, it's this kind of company. I think one of the biggest things is I need to allow time for revisions. Now, I used to do this very well, but as I've started to pick up speed, I've let revisions kind of slide to the side. And I need to pick that back up. I need to be okay with the fact that revisions can take a while. And I enjoy revisions. I enjoy slashing up a paper. Y'all, when I was turning in papers after papers just in school, my second, third drafts would be pretty much bleeding ink. It's just red. But I loved that. You get closer to the core, which is awesome. But as I moved into different industries and things got faster, I felt I had to be faster. But I don't think that that's really the right pace, because I started to lose track of where I was in the story, which doesn't help the story. So all of that to say, I can write drafts fast, I believe, for this process, but I have to revise. I don't know what, I'm not sure if slow, but deliberate. I have to revise deliberately. All right. So that's my goal for 2023. You are welcome to join me throughout this year as I try and aim for this goal. Let's eliminate try. We will do this goal in one shape or form or another. We will accomplish this goal. And I hope that your writing goals are also going well. So catch us for the next episode where I kind of break down further what I'll be needing, what I'll be doing, how I'm planning my work. I'm also looking at different softwares so that I can make sure I'm a little bit more strict with myself. I've always been kind of loose about what software programs I use. I always had Scrivener, and other, Pro Writing Aid, things like that. But now I'm okay, well, what do I need project management wise, storage wise, right? Let's treat this like the business that I want it to be, right? On the fiction side, because I do a lot of memoir work, a lot of nonfiction, but I really want to push those those other titles going into this new year, right? Why not? Let's try it. All right. I hope your writing is going well. Good luck. Go get them. And we'll see you on another episode. Bye. Hey there, writer. Thank you for listening to the How to Write a Book podcast with your host, Maciel Valenzuela. If you like the show, we'd be happy if you left a review. For more information on writing and the writer's life, go to www.themaciel.com. That's www.themassiel.com. We'll see you on the other side.